I hope you can relate to this idea. I believe we're all just big kids on the inside, living in grown up bodies, trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Because adulthood isn't really quite what we were promised. The myth is that adults really know what they're doing. We look at them and they seem so self-assured. Oh, I've done this a million times. I know what I'm doing. When the reality is, we're all just improvising. We're all adapting and hoping we make the right call. Many times in my life, I've had this idea, this sort of like deja vu feeling, almost like I was on a stage or a platform when you think about a improvising comedian or something like that. And believe me, I am no actor or actress. The stage is not my home, not my thing, but that's a picture that I've had in my mind many, many times, is that I'm just making up life as I go along. Knowing this, for all of us, should remove any feelings of like shame or pressure or feeling like you're behind the eight ball. Childhood never really quite leaves us on the inside. We're all kids inside. Our bodies grow older. We gain life experience, but the emotional wiring basically stays. We still want safety. We want a sense of belonging and approval, and also a sense that we're doing it right. We hope we are anyway. The clarity here is simple. Peace and calm comes when you finally accept the child within. Adulthood is about managing our needs that have changed, obviously, but with far bigger consequences. When I was 25, I bought my first business, and I bought it from a family member in my former husband's family. I was making this huge decision with like no roadmap. I told myself I was ready, but on the inside, I was completely winging it. As it turned out, it was a good choice because within a year, I made some changes and increased the business by 40%. This is the moment when most adults have the thought in the back of their mind, I guess I'm the one in charge now, you know? I'm sure you remember your first really adult decision that might have felt like a costume you were trying on. There's another myth, this one about like figuring it out. We tend to think there will be a certain age when clarity arrives, or it should arrive. But the truth is, every year, heck, every decade brings a new version of feeling like, I've never done this before. Here's the secret. Adults don't necessarily become more certain. We may have more practice at certainty, but that doesn't mean we know. Here's another story. At 33, I packed up my car with suitcases and moved from Michigan to California, San Diego, in fact. At the time, it didn't feel like that big of a deal. I mean, I drove myself 2,500 miles with two big suitcases, telling myself it was just going to be for 3 months. I was excited and exhausted every day doing the next thing I had to do to survive. I used to get lost out driving. Every day I would get lost. When I got to the point where I only got lost once a week, I felt like, oh, I'm getting better. And then I got to the point where I only got lost like once a month. I thought, gee, I'm almost a local. Later, I realized what a big deal it was. It changed my life in a lot of positive ways. I met Ernie, my husband. We have our 20th wedding anniversary coming up pretty soon. The biggest shifts don't always announce themselves. They seem like average decisions, but often they can turn out to be massive. So why do we keep feeling like kids on the inside? Well, it's because the world and our lives keep giving us firsts. First marriage, first home, first child, first responsible job, first divorce, first health scare, first big loss, like a parent. Then you realize, hey, I'm the oldest person in the room. There's no graduation into certainties. We're all beginners at whatever stage we're in. So one more moment, from my experience. And hey, you could see my gray and silver hair here, this ain't my first rodeo. And that is when I bought the car that I'm now driving. And it's pretty common knowledge that women get ripped off when it comes to buying a car. That's why women like going to these no-haggle dealerships. Well, the place where I got my car wasn't that kind of place. It was a Volkswagen dealership, and I was buying a Ford. I had to navigate these feelings of pressure and wondering, am I doing this right? Am I getting ripped off? I handled it with clarity, and it turned out to be a good deal for me because I recognized they wanted to get rid of this oddball Ford on a Volkswagen lot. It also was my first SUV. And I want you to know that you're not behind. You're human. We're all carrying these childhood questions into adulthood, improvising as we go along. And the goal isn't necessarily mastery, it's gentleness, curiosity, and self-trust. And what actually helps us grow is slowing down instead of reacting, choosing clarity over fantasy, and building systems that will support your nervous system and understanding it's okay to be a beginner at any age. If this landed for you, feel free to like, subscribe, or share it with someone who needs it. Oh, and I love your comments. They're always appreciated, always read, and almost always replied to. This is Denise, What I Wish I Knew at 30 on YouTube. Hey, you're capable. Truly.